Okay, boys and girls, today we are reading one of my favorite books, Gus Was a Friendly Ghost, written by Jane Thayer and illustrated or drawn by Seymour Fleischman. On the cover, that's Gus the ghost, and here's a friend of his that you'll meet later on in the book. So put on your listening ears and get ready for Gus Was a Friendly Ghost. There once was a friendly ghost by the name of Gus. He lived in an old house in the country with apple trees and lilacs in the yard. There's his house, and up here you can see that's Gus. Mr. and Mrs. Scott and their twins, Susie and Sammy, lived there too in the summer. The old house had an attic, and sometimes the Scotts heard rattles and clanks in it. That was Gus. The Scotts didn't believe in ghosts, so they didn't believe in Gus. Still, when they heard the rattles and clanks, they liked to say to their friends, "We've got a ghost." The Scotts made Gus feel welcome in the old house, so Gus liked them. He especially liked Mrs. Scott, who was so pretty. Can you say that with me? So pretty. Look, there's Gus rattling and clanking, and there's the Scotts, and they can hear him. He wanted to please them all, so he rattled and clanked in the attic, the way ghosts are supposed to do. "We've got a ghost," the Scott said proudly, though they didn't believe in ghosts. Look, there he is rattling and clanking. There are the Scotts, and they can hear him rattling and clanking for them. Then autumn came, and the Scotts family left. No need to rattle and clank now. Gus had nothing to do but sit around. Oh, Gus, he's all alone now in the house. See him? Poor Gus. One day he was so lonely sitting around by himself that he went for a walk. He met a mouse. "How are you?" said Gus. "Freezing," said Mouse with chattering teeth. "Come and spend the winter in my house," said Gus. "Any people there?" said Mouse. "I do hate people." "Not now," said Gus. There's Gus, and there's Mouse, so cold. Mouse scurried about the house. It seemed a good place to spend the winter, but it was chilly. "Let's build a fire in the fireplace," said Mouse with chattering teeth. "I'll get a match." He scurried to the kitchen, but the Scotts had taken all the matches away, on account of mice. "Bother!" cried Mouse. Gus had never built a fire. Ghosts never get cold, but he wanted Mouse to be happy in his house. So he said some ghostly words that he knew, and the fire began to blaze in the fireplace. "Well," said Mouse with delight, "let's have a bite. I'll look in the cupboard." There's the fire, and there they are. Does your family like to build a fire in the fireplace in the winter? He scurried to the kitchen, but the Scotts had taken all the food away, on account of mice. "Bother!" cried Mouse. Gus had never cooked a meal. Ghosts never get cold. No, the ghosts never get hungry. But he wanted Mouse to be happy. Toast and cheese sandwich? Said Gus. There isn't any, began Mouse. Then he saw that Gus was slicing a big piece of cheese. Mouse was delighted. Gus was pleased that he had thought of the cheese. Gus pulled a table up to the hearth. He piled 9 pillows in a chair for Mouse. Mouse enjoyed his toast and cheese. There's the kitchen with no food. And there's Mouse after he finished his meal. And Gus, happy having Mouse in his house. What's your favorite treat in the winter? Finally, Mouse wiped his whiskers. Which room is mine? He said. Take your pick, said Gus. Bet we'll feel good, said Mouse. He scurried into the front bedroom. But Miss Scott had put newspapers all over the bed, on account of mice. Mouse made a face. I do hate a newspaper, he said. Look, he's so mad about all the newspapers. He scurried into the back bedroom. I'll curl up in a drawer. But Miss Scott had put mothballs in the drawer, on account of mice, of course. Mouse made a terrible face. I do hate a mothball, he said. Gus wanted Mouse to be happy in his house. Try the attic, he said. Mouse ducked into a hole in the wall that Gus showed him and found his way to the attic. He burrowed into an old mattress and went to sleep in the stuffing. Look, you can see Mouse in the drawer and the mothballs there. He's not very happy in that picture, is he? No. Gus washed the dishes. He was delighted to have Mouse in the house for company. When Mouse woke up, he scurried downstairs and said, How do I get out of here? Don't go, cried Gus. Aren't you hungry? What are we having for dinner? Said Mouse. Gus began to be very busy. Mouse liked his 3 meals a day, and nibbles in between. So Gus put on an apron and got out a cookbook. He looked at all the things a mouse might like to eat. He spilled sugar all over the floor. He got flour all over his face. There's Gus cooking. There's Mouse ready to eat. He burned his fingers, but he made macaroni and cheesecake. He whipped up cheese soup and cheese sauces. He made cheese biscuits and cheese bread. And he made cheese popovers and cheese pie. That's a lot of cheese. Mouse never had time to help. He was so busy with various matters. But Gus didn't mind. Mouse grew plump on cheese sauce. At night when it snowed, Mouse read to Gus by the fire. Sometimes they played checkers. Sometimes they popped corn. Firelight flickered in the old window panes, and smoke curled up in the chimney. No one was near to nurse. Look at all this good food that Gus made for Mouse. There they are playing checkers. Doesn't that look so cozy? But at last the snow melted, the sun grew warm, the buds on the apple trees swelled, and the lilacs burst into bloom. And one day a car drove into the yard. The Scotts were back. The mouse heard Susie and Sammy running through all the rooms. He ducked into a hole in the wall and rushed to the attic. When he peeked out, on the mattress, he saw his friend Gus. He cried angrily, "I'll scare them away." "Why? They're nice," said Gus in surprise. He was glad to see the Scotts, especially Mrs. Scott. You know why? She was so pretty, yes. But Mouse had been so happy in the house with Gus's cooking and everything that he was furious to think the Scotts had come and spoiled it. Look, the Scotts are back. There's Mouse, though. He's very angry. What do you think he's going to do? Gus couldn't cook with Mrs. Scott in the kitchen, so Mouse scampered down to the parlor when the Scotts were playing checkers. He ran back and forth inside the wall, patter, 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 to scare them away. "We've got a mouse," said Mr. Scott. But the Scotts weren't scared away. Look, they're there playing checkers. There's Mouse running up and down the wall. "What do you want to do that for?" said Gus to Mouse. Mouse paid no attention. He scampered into the kitchen. He nibbled a piece of blackberry pie. He tried juice around. He chewed open a box of marshmallow cookies. And he spilled some tapioca. What a mess. There he is, making such a mess in the kitchen. It's very mean, isn't it? "Behave yourself," said Gus. Mouse scampered into the bedroom and chewed a hole in the pillow for good measure. But the Scotts weren't scared away. Mouse scurried up to the attic after the Scotts were in bed and stamped about all over their heads, making all the noise a mouse possibly could make. Look, there are the Scotts in bed, and there's Mouse, stamping all about. And there he is, he chewed a hole in a pillow. That's not very nice at all. Finally, Mr. Scott said, "I'll set a mouse trap." The next day, Mouse saw something new in the attic and smelled something good. He was so hungry. His nose quivered. He crept closer and closer. "Keep away!" cried Gus. "It's cheese," cried Mouse. "It's a trap to catch you," said Gus. Look, there's a trap and there's Mouse. He put up a sign that said, "Danger." When Mr. Scott didn't catch the mouse, he set another trap, then another. Gus kept putting up signs that said, "Beware." "Why can't you folks get along?" cried Gus. The more mouse traps Mr. Scott set, the more Mouse stamped about among the danger signs to scare the Scotts away. Gus began to be really worried. He didn't want his friends the Scotts bothered, and he didn't want his friend Mouse hurt. "I'd never forgive myself if anything happened," he said. "Look at all the signs and traps that are there. Can you kids read some of the signs for me? Look out. Yes, halt. No. Stop. Keep away." There's so many signs that he has put up. Then, one day, Mouse became so determined to scare the Scotts out of the house that he popped it on a kitchen top, bold as brass. When Miss Scott reached for the cereal, "Help!" screamed Miss Scott, running away. Can you kids show me how Mouse looked when he popped out, bold as brass? Show me with your bodies. Yes, that's very good, kids. That was the last straw. When Gus saw Miss Scott, who was, yes, so pretty, scared out of her wits, all of a sudden, he pointed his finger at Mouse and roared, "That's enough!" Look, Mouse, look, he's so angry at Mouse. And there's Mrs. Scott scared of Mouse. What do you think Gus is going to say to Mouse? Mouse was so shocked that he stood stock still and stared. "Listen to me," shouted Gus. "If you stay in this house, you'll do as I say from now on." "What?" whispered Mouse. "You'll stop scaring Mrs. Scott," roared Gus. "Okay," said Mouse meekly. "You stop nibbling and chewing. You can go out in the garden and eat nasturtium seeds," shouted Gus. "Okay," said Mouse. "You'll keep quiet while the folks play checkers." "I'll walk on tiptoe," said Mouse. "You'll stop stamping around the attic. I'm the only one allowed to make a noise in the attic." I'll be quiet as a mouse," said Mouse. "All right," said Gus with a sigh of relief. Then he saw how meek and scared Mouse looked. It's just till the folks go away," he said kindly. Mouse tiptoed about the house and ate nasturtium seeds in the garden. But how angry Gus, how scared Mouse looked. There he is in the garden. Nasturtium seeds are small seeds that look kind of funny. But Scott said, "That mouse is gone," and Mr. Scott took away all the traps. Gus rattled and clanged extra loud in the attic, so the Scots would say, "That's our ghost." And when the Scots went away for the winter, Gus and Mouse had a celebration with cheese croquettes for dinner. Like, there they are together again in the house. Cheese croquettes. The end. What did you kids think of the book? It's always been a favorite of mine. Do you kids believe in ghosts? And would you kids like to have a friend like Gus? I would. Do you have a friend as good as that? And do you sometimes get mad at them? But you should know that you should always forgive your friends, even if they did something that you don't like. Okay. Thank you, boys and girls.